called me to ask if I could suggest something appropriate to be read. Well, I read a few of what I have come to believe are the most important words to be read in any literature. But first I need to explain. I'm an old man, a has-been preacher, who no longer has pulpit and whose voice was deteriorated to the point where he can hardly make himself heard to one person, let alone an entire congregation. What is it then that I'm so anxious to say to you as you make this covenant of marriage? It isn't anything you haven't heard before or thought about, but let me try to say it again. And now this is the sermon. Pay attention. I have become convinced that the only hope for our future and the future of all our fellow creatures on this planet depends on whether or not enough of us can learn to love. Not only learn how to love, but commit ourselves to make it our chosen way of life. We can invent all kinds of new Blackberries or e-readers. We can develop new kinds of politics or economics or new ways of killing people. But until more of us learn to live together for the benefit of each other, I cannot imagine how the world will ever be a better place to live than it is now. And that isn't always good. Perhaps we should ask Jonathan and Melissa whether or not they are in love. Perhaps Mr. Norris has already asked this question.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to hear what you have to say and answer, but it might just put some people on the spot, and I wouldn't want to do that.
Absolutely.
I don't need to ask it, because I've watched them when they are together at family parties. I've seen the sparkle in their eyes when their eyes meet. Love, whatever that is, fairly bounces off them. But what is it? What is this love, whatever it is? My mother had a good definition, at least I thought it was a good definition at the time. She said, love is a feeling of outward innerness, an inner all-overishness, an itching in the heart which cannot be scratched. Well, that's hardly a firm base for marriage, or for building a world of peace either. Listen carefully as Jon and Melissa go through the vows. And I think you'll find not one place where they declare that they are in love. Rather, they will commit themselves to love each other. Love is a verb, something you do. It's not a state of you happen to fall into. Jonathan and Melissa, today you're starting back to school. There's only one subject in the school, and that is love. It'll be studied at the breakfast table and at dinner. You'll think about how you can show a loving spirit to people with whom you work or strangers in the street. There will be special moments of instruction when you enjoy the quiet of a campsite in some Ontario wilderness and cuddle down together in the tent at night. Perhaps with 3 or 4 children as well, who seem to be bundles of sheer energy. There will, of course, be lots of tests. But the good thing is that for the most part, you will be your own judge and giving your own grade. And if your experience is like ours, at the age of 84, you'll still be learning how to love. Yes, I promised that I would read something appropriate for your wedding. So here it is. Just a few sentences from Paul's letter to new Christians who met as a congregation in Corinth. And as in all communities, they were having trouble showing in their lives the love which they talked about so much about, which they knew must be the foundation of their lives as people living together. So this is what Paul says to them. He says, if I could speak with the languages of the earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains, but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it, but if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices wherever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Those, I think, are words for you to take with you, Jonathan, Elizabeth, and all of us. as we work out our commitment that we make every day of the life to love one another as God loves us. May God bless you both.
Gordon, thank you. Folks, does that sound anything like a has-been preacher? You have work still to do. Thank you for that today.